Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Independent Brokerage. I'm Howard Flashen, the broker and owner of Roundtable Realty.
I'm Erin Salem, Director of Marketing Director for Roundtable Realty. And you know, this past weekend, someone commented on something that Howard posted asking, why do you call your marketing director the Director of Marketing Director? And I think that person was really expecting that we were going to have a long, drawn-out, well thought out.
Steve Henriksen,
Hey,
everybody.
Steve Henriksen.
Come on in, have a seat, Steve. You'll be a background player in our episode today.
And as it turns out, there's really no big story at all. We just couldn't decide between Director of Marketing and Marketing Director.
And there you go.
So we went with both.
It's so deflating.
It is. Sorry that it's not a better story.
Sorry. Eat anything this weekend?
I sure did.
Yeah?
I went to Cowford
Chop House.
Chop House downtown.
Yeah?
And I had myself a giant ribeye.
Did they burn the butter?
They did not burn the butter. And I will reiterate, I have heard some folks say that, I just didn't have a good experience at Cowford. I think that was my third time. I have never had anything less than a stellar experience there. Every person on the wait staff, everything was timed beautifully, and they make you feel like royalty when you're in that place. They really do. It's so beautiful, and I can't sing their praises enough. I had a wonderful meal.
And the ribeye was great.
And the ribeye was real good.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm
You?
glad I ate at the Belgian Sweet Shop.
What is that?
It is a little breakfast joint right behind us over here by Moe's in Fruit Cove.
Okay.
And it's owned by a very cute little lady
Yeah.
from Belgium. Makes sense.
Does make sense.
And the waffles are awesome and big. They have crepes. They have
Clips.
presses. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But I had a very cool experience. Ready?
I'm ready.
And so their menus were stapled together in Microsoft Word docs. Like, just print that, just print it, like, type in Microsoft Word, because it's a mom and pop, right? She's
Okay,
doing what she
sure.
can. She's serving good food. But,
Yeah.
and she says, so I took the menu home, and I made a menu for them, and made it all pretty, brought it back up to them. They edited it, and hopefully this week they'll be rolling out
How
their new
cool
menu.
is that of you to do?
Yeah.
That is so kind.
Well-
Look at you giving back to your community in every way.
Well, they could have said no. She could have looked at it and been like, oh, this is
awful.
just terrible.
Oh, what a cool thing.
Well, yeah, but
good
so-
for you.
So they'll have a nice, pretty menu, and they're going to laminate. I think I'm going to laminate one today and take it over. Actually, they're
give it to
closed
them?
on Monday. Don't go today.
As they should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to...
In between all those phone calls from agents needing information and help from you over the weekend, you made a menu
Yeah.
for a small business. That's really, really cool.
Well, hopefully the food won't change. It'll still be great.
Yeah.
But it'll be a nice, pretty menu for you to
That's
order
awesome.
off. And then, you know what else I did?
What?
I filleted some fish myself. I did. My
Look
son...
at this jack of all trades sitting next to
My
me.
son went fishing with Grandpa Gene and my wife, and he caught more than I expected whiting.
Is that a fish?
It's a fish.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because I said, well, I'm going to get in here and clean these fish, and I'll be done here in 10 minutes, and there was it was like an endless cooler of fish, and it took hours. But I'm ready for Naked and Afraid.
You are. They do let you bring a knife. You can bring like one thing with you in your little pack in your
I would bring a
satchel.
knife.
You'd bring a knife so you could fillet the fish.
Oh yeah, for sure, because I could do it.
I feel like though, if you're naked and afraid and you get a fish, the odds are you're going to try to eat the whole fish because it might be the only food you see in the whole 21 days.
Good point. Maybe I won't need a knife. I'll just eat it all.
Mm-hmm. With your hands like corn.
Naked and Afraid, Deadliest Catch. I can do it all.
Yeah.
I'm right there. Actually, Deadliest Catch. That's one of my favorite TV shows. I think it's still on. But I'm always like, I could do that. My wife's like, no chance.
I agree with your wife.
No chance. I'm ready.
No offense. You make a mean menu, but I'm not sure you could hack it on Deadliest
No,
Catch.
probably not. All right, you want to talk a little real estate?
I sure do.
Okay, it's going to be a little complicated.
Oh.
Do you know how commissions work?
Ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think a commission works?
For a real estate
Sure.
agent? Well,
How does it flow through a transaction?
well, the seller pays the
Yeah, keep going.
commissions. Okay.
Okay.
I needed some validation. So
Yeah.
the seller is usually the one that pays. The buyer doesn't pay. The seller takes the agent takes a percentage of the seller's sale, and then some of that money comes back to the brokerage, and then the brokerage keeps some of that money, and then the agent gets the rest of that money. And depending upon whether or not you've hit your cap out for the year,
You're getting too deep in the
Okay.
weeds. Pretty good, though.
not bad.
So it starts with a contract, right?
Yes.
So a seller contracts with a brokerage and says, I believe that you're going to do a great job to sell my home.
Yes. Okay.
And they'll agree on a commission amount. Okay.
Oh.
So that could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%, whatever it might be. Whatever
Yes.
the market will bear is what the seller's agreeing to pay.
Okay.
And there are probably 95% of the brokers out there charge a transaction fee on top of said commission. We don't
do
here.
that.
No,
Just the commission.
I just think that's silly.
Okay.
So anyway, now the listing broker, who now is going to put this home on the market and do a bunch of marketing for it and get it photographed and videographed and all sorts of marketing that they're going to do. And
Videographed.
yeah.
Yes.
Lots of nice printing and things like that.
Yeah.
They then, because they're members of the multiple listing service,
MLS.
yep, they are agreeing or that they will promise to compensate a buying brokerage who might leverage. Okay, so follow me. The listing brokerage has agreed to do all this marketing and stuff like
Yes.
that, but that listing brokerage has said, hey, but we are going to agree to cooperate and
Yes.
compensate
Yes.
a buying brokerage out there because we're hoping that they will also advertise this home
Yes.
and leverage, and you got tens of thousands of realtors who are marketing said home wherever
it.
they can, and potentially they have a buyer and it pops up on their screen and they go, oh my gosh, this is the perfect house for you.
Okay.
And so
So it all flows through the seller.
yes, but the listing brokerage signed a contract with the seller that said, look, in this particular example, we're going to say that they agreed to do this sale at 7%.
Okay.
Okay. They believed that 7%, and the seller agreed that 7% is the perfect amount.
Yes.
And the
7% of the sale price.
that's right.
Yes.
And the listing brokerage in the document in the contract they signed with the seller
Yes.
says we're going to give 3.5% to a
the-
buyer brokerage.
The buyer brokerage. Yes.
Okay, for helping us out and finding us a buyer.
So the
as
buyer's
well.
agent and the seller's agent split
Yes.
the percentage of commission.
Typically, it's a split. It doesn't have to be. It could be whatever the contract
whatever they
says.
negotiate.
That's right.
But typically, you would split it 50-50, and each agent takes home 50% of the commission on that sale.
And you said typically. It doesn't have to be typically. It can be whatever.
Okay.
Okay, it can be whatever negotiated amount it is.
Yes.
Okay, so of this 7%, if the listing brokerage happens to find the buyer as well,
Okay.
okay,
So the person who's listing the home and showing it to everybody also finds someone who says, I want to buy that home, but I don't currently have a realtor.
So the realtor typically would be a transaction broker in that case. They would be a referee right in the middle. They cannot take favorites.
And that's only fair.
They have to.
if you're representing
That's
both.
right. They're a referee, and they would represent both parties.
Yes.
Okay. But there's a unique thing that can happen sometimes.
Okay.
A seller and a listing broker might say, you know, of this 7% that we've agreed upon because of this house,
Yes.
we're only going to give 2% to buyers agents and buyers brokers out there. And because we're special and we do all of these special creative things, we're going to keep 5%.
Okay.
Okay, right?
Yes.
Well, here's the thing that's interesting.
Okay.
This is the interesting part as we
Yes.
get out of the weeds here.
Yeah.
It is a National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics violation
Okay.
for the buying brokerage to choose whether to show or not show that home based
on the
amount
commission.
that has been offered for cooperation.
Which and it would make sense that a buyer's agent might not be super excited to show a home that they know already their commission is going to be reduced based on that agreement.
So,
But it's not ethical.
well, so a buyer's agent, a buyer broker, can call and ask for a better commission.
Okay.
They can call and ask. They can try to even negotiate for a higher commission.
Okay.
However, based on the results of their negotiation, they still have to show the home. They can't choose whether or not to show the home based on said transaction.
Now, would they attempt to negotiate that ahead of showing the
They have
buyer
to.
the home? Ah, okay. So I look at it. I see this is what the commission the buyer's agent would potentially receive. I think that's not enough. I have to call and try to negotiate that before I ever take my buyer to see the home for sale.
But you have to show it anyway. You can't steer them away from seeing
Right.
that house
Right.
because the co-op commission was not enough for you.
Got it.
Now let's get into how this violation occurs that I see happen
All the
more
time.
time. Well, not all the time.
Okay.
Pretty rare. But
Okay.
more times than not, it
Yes.
comes in this form.
Okay.
The offer comes to you. So you have the home and you're selling it, and the offer comes in, and it's a decent sale or
Yes.
decent price, decent
Uh-huh.
terms. And written down there in paragraph 17 where you can write stuff in, it says the buyer broker is to be paid such and such commission.
Yes.
Can't do that. So the purchase and sale agreement is a contract between the seller and the buyer. The agent can't put some sort of adjustment or try to affect the commission on the instrument of purchase and sale.
Okay.
They can't do that. As a
No.
matter of fact, let's go back to the previous part. If the crazy, right? If the buyer's agent
Yes.
called you and said, "Hey, I really want 3%. Can you give me 3%?" You said, "Yeah, I'll give you 3%." You have to go to the listing broker and then do an amendment to the contract for the sale between the seller and the listing broker.
Okay.
So it's not quite as easy as that. Right.
No, it's not.
Got in the weeds there.
But is that's sort of that's where they try to get around it, is by making that change in that final contract, the contract of sale.
Yeah.
That, okay, and P.S., I'm going to make this much, when they should have done that way before any of that even happened. Yeah. And I can understand it's frustrating as a buyer's agent to see something like that, or even as a listing agent to know you work so many days without actually getting paid.
Well, that's a great point. So realtors, I just posted on Facebook, generally speaking, realtors work 335, 345 days a year without a paycheck.
Right.
And you're going to get
Nobody
paid.
thinks about that.
And by the way, you work all those days. A lot of people are under this assumption that a commission you earn on this house, this sale, is payment for the work done specifically on this home. That's not true.
Right.
Actually, a commission earned on a Tuesday is to pay for the 6 months prior to that you did all of this marketing trying to get buyers to go to your website and look for houses, to learn stuff about this lender.
It's a constant effort for these agents. They're never not, if they are successful, they are almost never not working in some capacity, whether it's building relationships or marketing themselves or marketing the homes they've listed or reaching back out to buyers or...
So the remuneration of all this work is paid one day on a sale on 123 Elm Street. And the seller of 123 Elm Street and the buyer of 123 Elm Street might believe that the commission is based on that home. It's not the case.
Right.
They're getting remunerated for 6 months to a year's worth of investment in their business. And it's just interesting to see how the flow of commissions work. The National Association of Realtors doing studies for FSBOs versus homes that are represented by realtors, typically with a seller who follows maybe a realtor's advice on things to do to your home to get it ready to market. With the marketing that they do, you're going to get a better price than without.
Which makes sense.
And if you think about this is the way to go. If somebody were to for sale by owner and put their home in the MLS on their own, let's say they pay $500 to put it up and not have a listing broker on their side, they still, to get the biggest piece of the buy, have to co-op with the broker on the other side. So they're paying 3% plus $500.
Yes.
So to have your own representation at all only costs you 2% plus or minus $500.
Yeah.
So
it's a no-brainer.
I think so.
But some people don't know that.
Well, now they do because they watch the show.
Thanks for watching, you
There
guys.
you go. Well, we'll have another episode for you next week.
We
same
sure
place,
will.
same time.
Absolutely.
Click the link, share, like,
All of that
subscribe
stuff.
on our YouTube
Push
page.
all the buttons.
You're going to see a lot of them. Just click them all. See what they do.
We'll see you next
All
week.
right, have a good one.